Well, hello, I'm Bob Dandry, this is Boring Guy Plays, and welcome back to Cities Skylines 2, where we are building Azure Delta. Now, we're starting off over here in our Old Town Industrial Zone because I want to start to take some steps this episode to migrate some of our industry away from this area here. So as you can see here, we've got a nice few sort of residential areas. We've got our original Palmer Square area, Barlow Fields, Sunrise Springs, Concord Bluff, all of those. And then we've got this bit of industrial, which is also including our forest that just sort of sits in the middle of it. And I don't necessarily think this is the best use for the land we have. We have a lot of space. If we look at our contours, which I'll pull up now, the contours are all right. Obviously, we've got a bit of a hill here, but we could definitely flatten out a lot of this area to get some nice flatness. Over here, we've not really, I would say, built this very well. We've got a lot of weird contours going on here. Of course, keeping in mind, this was the first thing I really built when we started the game. So I can forgive myself for not sort of building this as the best zone I could have. But we, of course, can make some changes to this. Move out some of these industrial uses, move out our bus depot. And I think a good area we could potentially move some of those to is around our rail yard. Obviously, we've got some industrial here, and we've got some space here that we could potentially purchase. We've got quite a few planning permits available, so I'm thinking we might do that. I also wanted to comment on some feedback I did get on the last episode that the roads are a mess. And I'm looking at this area here that we built, which when I was building it, I thought, yeah, this is looking pretty good. When I look back on it, it's not good at all, is it? It really, really looks lazy, ugly, not good at all. And I think moving forward, I'm going to really try and take the contours into a lot more notice when we're building these sort of developments, which was always the goal. But of course, I'm not happy with this at all. We might even look to redevelopment sometime in the future. Not right now. We've got new stuff to build, so we'll leave it for the moment. But yeah, definitely I think we will be looking to improve this in the future. But yeah, I'm going to pop over to the map tiles screen, and I think we might just purchase all of these. That is 9 tiles. We've got more than enough cash. We are swimming in money right now, to be honest. So we'll get all of these purchased. That gives us sort of a large, complete sort of city now. We're not carving out little bits and pieces. We've got everything that we need right now. And anything we'll be purchasing from here out will just be expanding the borders outwards rather than trying to fill in the middle. Now, I mentioned that I want to try and shift some of the industrial over the river to this area here. I don't think we are really going to be looking to migrate these industrial uses away at this point. Obviously, we've got the rail yard, which is well entrenched there. We've got a cargo terminal. And I think it just makes sense. Move some of this stuff across the river. We can get a nice city services precinct in as well. Of course, we're going to need to get a few crossings of our rail line in, which I don't think will be too much of a challenge, but definitely I think we need to clean the rail lines a little bit as well, because they are a little bit messy. First things first, though, I do want to just get a nice flat pad out on the level of our rail yard. And that's going to cut out a fair bit of this, quite large hill. But I think we can make it work, and I think we'll still be able to smooth it out so it looks okay. But yeah, this is definitely quite a dramatic sort of cut. And I guess fill job as well. We'll probably be doing a little bit of filling. I think, we'll go out a little bit, and then let's find the next major contour up, which I think is this one here. And we'll look to create a bit of a terrace. Now, of course, we're going to need to smooth this all out so we've got reasonable access between these two levels. But I think it should be okay, and I think we can do that pretty well. This is quite dramatic. I do apologize. I think we should be able to soften it so it looks okay. In fact, I think we can probably take this level a little bit further towards our rail yard. And then we can smooth it quite well, I think. I really don't want to just like cut the top off this hill, but I think we might end up doing it. Oh, I didn't want to slope either. I wanted to smooth. What do we got there? We got a fireworks tower. Let's see if we can move that. Might actually just be able to remove the firewatch tower altogether because we're probably going to be building up this area. I would suggest. At least for the moment, we'll reconnect it. I was going to say I don't think that's too dramatic. It is quite a dramatic hill still. But yeah. We can probably still smooth it a little bit more, can't we? Yeah, I think it looks a little bit better now. Still not the best, I would suggest. But I think we've got a nice amount of space as well that we can use to start to migrate some of our city services, etc. into that area. We do need to cross our rail lines though, as we don't have any crossing here at the moment. We do have a little, definitely a bit of space there that we could sneak a road under, but we'll probably need a bridge as well, I'd suggest. I think that's okay though. A little bit of a sudden turn there, but I think it should be fine, and I think we can do a decent job of sort of building that out without having too much of a grade. So I think we probably will try and get a nice straight road as close as we can to our rail yard, which I think that's pretty nice there. Definitely we'd probably want to get some fencing up, but I don't think we have any fencing assets we can actually use at this point, so we will need to leave it as is. I think we can probably get a bridge in around about here or so though. Try and get that flat as well, because at the moment we've got a bit of a grade going on. Let's try and turn our snapping off to see if we can get something decent in here. Okay, I think that looks decent, and we should be able to connect this existing road in there, and I would say get a nice curve into the road we've just built as well. Yeah, I think that's pretty nice. And we'll get this road here, and we'll try and keep on a similar contour line to what we're already on. Right, sort of cut around there. Ooh, that's not the similar at all, is it? And with this road here, we might just try and pull out the same sort of height, so we don't have any weird like cut and fill happening. So we'll just pull that out. We'll return some of this later, but just for the moment. Why are you wanting to go up though? That's my question. Okay, perfect. Right, just try and hug the edge of that contour that we've just laid down, and then... I mean, it's not the worst. Definitely could be worse. But yeah, we'll smooth this out now. And I think overall that looks decent. And then we should be able to connect up to this road here as well. Okay, and that's not a circuit as well, that's good. I just want to consider what we actually want to lay down here. So if we go over, no, it's right here. We've got our bus depot, so we will be moving that across. Our landfill as well, though I think we'll also use some different waste management buildings. Power plant, I think we can just decommission altogether, to be honest, because we do have our large coal power plant over here, which should have more than enough capacity to do us absolutely fine. So we've got 156 megawatts of power. Yeah, that can almost cover everything by itself. Of course, we've also got some wind turbines over here and solar over there. So this small coal power plant can pretty much just be decommissioned at this point, and we shouldn't have any issue doing that. I would also like to consider getting a wastewater treatment plant. At the moment, we just have a sewer pipe here, which is not ideal. As you can see, we've got our poo water heading over to Mulberry Keys, and these residents definitely would not be happy with that at all, especially after they paid as much as they did for their houses. So we will be looking to switch that one off and move it across as well. I do want to get rid of the forest, but we're not going to put the forest over here. We've got a few other options we can look at, possibly in this area here that we could get our forest moved over to. And of course, we do just have some general industry in this area that we will be looking to move across. So I'm going to get our incinerator plant unlocked. That should allow us to get some extra electricity and should mean we're not quite as much relying on landfill, which is good. Definitely a good thing. And I think it's a very large building, if I'm not mistaken. It's not terrible. So we might be able to sneak it in somewhere over here, but we will need to massage our contours a little bit more. So we'll pop over here. Yeah, and I think it will fit in on this road on Willow Street, or potentially maybe a street coming off Willow. If we were to like put in something there at a nice 90. How does that look if we put it there? Yeah, I think it actually looks all right. But yeah, we just need to massage the contours a little bit more. So if we use our level terrain tool and just cut a little bit more into this hill, you know, we are absolutely respecting the topography here. No doubt about it. We'll fix this up later, but I will, however, get this down now. And I think it looks pretty good. Looks like we do need to extend our road a little bit further. And what about a recycling center? Yeah, it's quite a large building as well, but we can get that one across the road. So we've got a bit of a rubbish hub over here. Our incinerator plant does need to connect to the high voltage lines as well, as it does generate power. So we might just see if we can get a connection happening. Looks like we do have high voltage lines running underground here, so we might see if we can join up with those existing lines. It looks like probably we're connected there. We just don't have any rubbish being processed, so that's fine. Now that we've done that, I'm going to start to empty our landfill. Now, I believe you don't actually need to use the empty process in City Skylines 2. You can just delete the building, but I think it's a little bit more realistic for us to actually empty. So we're not just deleting all of our rubbish. In fact, I think I might move these a little tiny bit off Willow Street, and then we can get some sort of screening, trees and things like that in, so we're not, you know, just have people driving directly past the incinerator plant. So, once again, making topography my bitch, and just very slightly moving that across. And I think that's good there. We should be able to fit a little bit of grid on this side here, and maybe even a little bit on the other side of the rail line as well. But I just want to see if we can massage this so it doesn't quite look as bad. Potentially we might even smooth out this entire bit here and only have this bit over here as our industrial complex. I think that probably makes sense. Otherwise, oh god, what am I doing? I'm using the slope tool again. But we actually can probably use the slope tool to sort of fix this. This is not looking good at all, is it? No, I think that's all right. I think that's okay. Yeah, it's definitely a lot nicer than it was before, I think. So we've got our army of rubbish trucks on the way to hopefully get this landfill emptied out, and then we will delete it once it's empty. And yeah, in terms of grid, I think we've probably smoothed this out a little bit too far, so we might push it back a little tiny bit. So I might get my grid in and then we'll go back and smooth afterwards. Alrighty. So I might see if we can get this a little bit cleaner than our grids have been in the past. Because I've not been doing well at gridding. That's a bit of an unusual one, but I think it's okay. It gives a little bit of interest to the grid itself, and we just need to make the rest of our grid nice and neat. It looks like 200 by 120 is probably what we're going to be going for at the moment. Ish. That does actually give us a little bit of a space in the middle then, doesn't it? So we might pull that in a tiny bit further. Maybe, I think we'll go then, if that's the case, 100 by 200. I guess 104. And does that give us... I've heard there's a trick we can do here with our grid here that fixes... Yeah, okay, so if we use our grid tool, it does actually fix the zoning and make it a little bit neater. I think we've hooked onto a guideline we didn't want to hook onto, so I might just turn off our guidelines for a second. And there we go. Okay, perfect. All right, so that doesn't look too bad at all. It's definitely a little bit better than the grid I usually put down. And I think we can smooth this out now. Soften it. Okay, so that's, I think, fairly nice. So I think we can start to fill in some of this with industrial zoning. We might as well also get a little bit of office in here. Obviously, some of these buildings or some of these companies that have their manufacturing in this area probably would have some of their offices as well. So we might get some low density office in as well. And we probably do need a little bit of parking as well. This would be quite a major employment district. So we would probably want to make sure that everyone who needs parking could get it. So we might try and sneak in a few parking lots here and there. Might see if we can squeeze a small parking lot in that space we've left there. And it looks like we can maybe just sneak one in. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. There we go. So I've got a few parking lots, which hopefully should get some people, you know, parking there, not parking on the street quite as much. And I think we do also want to try and get a few different road connections rather than everything coming from sort of our old town over here. Of course, we've got our major road here, Thornton Street, that I think could fairly easily connect up to the new industrial area. And we also need to work out how we're going to get the sort of upper part built as well, because we are going to need to connect that and probably connect up the lower part to the upper part as well. But I think in terms of getting over to Thornton Street, I think we have a few good options. I'm liking this little sort of corridor right of way here. I think we're probably going to have a decent grade, or 7.5%, 6%. It's not terrible. Let's try. In fact, what we could do is use our slope tool to make it nice and uniform. That might be a bit easier, mightn't it? Yeah, I think that is pretty good. Yeah, that's a decent grade, I think. And probably we'll need to cut across and join up with this street here. If we can get a guideline there. Need to turn them on, of course, to get one. Okay, pretty decent, pretty decent. As I mentioned, I do want to get some coverage in here, so you're not driving past the ugly incinerator plant, or I mean as much as possible anyway. So we will lay down maybe some birch trees, possibly, or some poplar trees. Maybe even some alder trees. Oh, okay, we can just sneak them in, maybe. Yeah, nice, okay. No, come on. Come on. I need to get some smaller trees in or some smaller bushes in here because it looks like they're not going to fit otherwise. Alright, so we've got the lower sort of industrial park here, which we can probably get a bit more zoning in here, but I'm happy to leave it as is, at least for the moment. But now we've got this top bit of flattening that we've done, We've taken a little bit away by smoothing this out, and I'm happy with that. I think it looks okay. But I think we do need to lay down... I would like to lay down maybe a unique building up here, potentially. But I'm just having a bit of trouble seeing our contours. It's because of all the trees that are in here. But I think what we might do is just start by laying just a road straight through here. That's a nice flat road. And we can sort of design our grid, I think, on the go here. So I might stick with the 104 by 200. Which that seems to be staying nice and square. We're maintaining our full or our complete sort of grid here. As you can see, we don't have any weird wobbly zoning squares. I just want to leave a little bit extra room for our unique factory, I think, maybe at the end of this grid here. And I think we should be able to get another 104 grid in here. It's looking pretty good, I think. Question is, how do we connect this up to our road network? We've got a couple of options. I think we can maybe bend this road around to head over there. I think we've got some decent contours to work with, especially if we use our slope terrain tool. So let's see what that looks like. I mean, I think it's not actually too bad at all. We're obviously definitely cutting a notch into the side of the hill, but that's, I think, all right. I don't think it's too bad. I think that's a decent connection there. Yeah, not too bad. All right, now looking at our signature building switch on, that's actually really large, isn't it? Another thing we could do is just take one of these blocks and just sort of get rid of it and see if we can just get this sort of sitting in the middle. Maybe not load off Hemlock Street. See if we can... Oh, they're both Hemlock Street. That's great planning, team. Just sort of offset it off the road a little tiny bit, if we can. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Ooh, and we've also unlocked a chemical plant as well, which I don't know if we will lay down at this point, but let's have a look at it anyway. Chemical plant. This one's actually not quite as large, so we might even be able to sneak it in maybe over here or so. This is quite heavy industry, so I think it could work. Might turn this one oriented. Oops. It's all right. Might orient it a different way as well. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all right. They're not like massive, really gross looking buildings. They're okay, especially this one. This one's actually quite nice. And obviously this is a chemical plant, so it does have that vibe to it, but it's not too bad. I think we can definitely just fill in the rest of our grid squares with a mixture. Oh, okay. There we go. Grand City. 28 planning permits. I'm excited to use those. Might not get to it this episode though. So, yeah, I'm thinking a mixture once again of industrial and low density office in this area. Might even get a little bit here, not a massive amount. But I think we can do that. And let's see, can we sneak in another car park or two in here? Turn on snapping. Large. Oh, yeah, we can actually. We can get a couple. Cool. It's good. And we might just get another little bit, or might get some more trees in here. And we might just get a mixture of sort of, ooh, very large brush there, of small, or actually maybe a couple of large trees and a lot of sort of bushy stuff in here. This is a little bit of a filler, which I think should look okay once those trees grow up. Over here we might get just a little pathway. I didn't want as far as to create a pedestrian crossing, so we might just redo that. Alrighty, perfect. And yeah, this should be a nice booming, well hopefully booming little industrial area. I'm wondering if we connect up. Probably don't want through movements, so we might connect up to this road here and maybe have it connect into Washington Street, potentially. Let's pull out our slope terrain tool once again. And yeah, I think that should be fairly okay. Do a bit more smoothing again. And yeah, overall, pretty decent. Pretty decent. I think what we're going to do is we're going to start to dezone some of our industrial. Probably sort of the stuff right around the landfill, as that's probably going to be the first bits we redevelop. I also turned off our power plant some time ago, so we might actually demolish it as well. Apparently people are not happy about that. Maybe it's because there's been some jobs lost. But I mean, if you're around here, you'd be cheering, absolutely cheering. So I'm not sure exactly what they're complaining about. I think we've actually got a really good opportunity to replace some of these radio masts as well, because we've got access to sort of up the hill here. I think we might have some better coverage with a large telecom tower if we pop it over here. And I reckon we can definitely get rid of the one right next to our old landfill. People are probably going to complain again. Not many people, actually. Less people complained about the telecom tower going down than the power plant for some reason. I think we do still need a little bit of landfill, though. So we've got a landfill over here that is close to full. I don't think that expands any further either, does it? How do we... hang on. No, that's pretty much the edge of where I can expand to. So we might need to get maybe a small landfill around this area. I don't know exactly how that'll work. Probably not, to be honest. We really don't want landfill there, do we? We could definitely potentially move this and sort of put it more on Fairview Street, off the street a little bit, so we can actually take up more of the space we've got available. That might be an option. if we have a look at our landfill, if we were to place it sort of around here or so, I think we've definitely got a lot more space that we can use. So let's have a look. How much... We also probably need to move these onto the other side of the road as well, don't we? Yeah, probably. Which is fine, because we've actually got a bit of an area here that we could just lay them through, can't we? Just lay them, yeah, on the other side of the road here. And like that will allow them to connect straight up there, so that's fine. Surprisingly. So there we go. We've got some redundancy there. Temporary redundancy, because we are just going to remove this. Oh, hang on. I removed the wrong length, didn't I? God, what have I done? Hang on. Okay, that's fine. Alrighty, so let's get this landfill zoned. Zoned? Is that what you'd call it? I don't know. Alrighty, so we should be able to hopefully fairly quickly empty out this landfill now, and I would say eventually we'll probably move this one. But yeah, I would say don't quite have the capacity right now to do that. But I think we can reuse this area either to get some more industrial districts down, and if not, we can just get some more zoning in as well. Next, we've got our bus depot that we need to move, and I wonder if we can just pick this up and place it down somewhere else. We can, even with the additional sort of outbuildings, it will just move. So I'm wondering if we could maybe fit it in this area here somewhere. Like right there, I think is a pretty good shout, but we're going to need to pause because we need to reconnect the road. But that should hopefully not break our bus routes. They should hopefully just continue to work as they were before. I'm not seeing any complaints anywhere looking around, so I think we're good. What is happening over here? What's happened? How did you end up here? And how is an ambulance going to get to you? Okay. And final thing I think we want to try and do to finish up this new sort of industrial zone we've set up is to get our wastewater processing moved from this old sewage outlet to a wastewater treatment plant. And they're actually reasonable size, so we should be able to fit one in within the footprint we've already got available. What we might do though is just to add a little stub of road here and latch onto that if we can. Actually does take it out a little bit further, but I think it's okay. We should be able to do a little bit more softening potentially. Yeah, not too bad. And how is our wastewater processing now? It's looking great. So we can get this old outpipe just removed altogether. Everyone's happy with that one. And we can also remove... Why is there a sewage pipe just going that way? I don't know. Why can't I remove the... Okay, here we go. It just connects up here. I guess that was the limits of our infrastructure when we first laid the town down. But there you go. So that old sewage pipe is gone. Hopefully we should see this yuckiness start to disappear. And hopefully we don't get too much yuckiness over here. I think it should be all right. We can add some quite large... Ooh, Okay, what do these do? Okay, interesting. We don't need to do anything like that. That's fine. Might just see if we can get a little bit more industry zone. Not massive amount, but we do have some space that we can use, I think. That's not at a 90 though. So I'm just zoning these to try and avoid any sort of earth movements, and I think we've done okay. We're a little bit more free here though, just to go a bit more ham, as you might say. Yeah, we do want to try and get a bit more zoned, I think, because we're going to be removing a fair amount of industrial over here. So we just want to try and make sure we're not causing an issue in terms of having massive demand and not enough industry to cover that demand. But I think we're okay. I think we're in a decent position here. Once again, I'm just laying some smaller industrial plots around our sort of more major roads, just so they're not overloaded with, you know, large amounts of trucks and stuff coming through. But I think we're doing okay. So I'm going to go ahead and dezone a little bit more. A few more blocks. The landfill is... it's not emptying as much as I thought it would. Especially since we've got some increased capacity over here now. And of course we've got the incinerator plant. But yeah. Wow, 50 garbage trucks. Wowzers. That is a bit insane. And I guess while we're waiting for our landfill to empty out, we may as well move towards getting rid of that forest. So we've got a few tree dense areas. We've got over here, which maybe is a good shout because I don't think we're likely to put much in terms of residential or commercial here. The other thing we could do is put it on the side of our sort of mountain here. That's also an option. We do have access to a collector here as well. Of course, we would need to convert that into a potentially a parklow or something like that. What is happening here? Okay. We've got a petrol station on fire and we've got helicopters that are just dumping water on it. I guess it worked. Yeah, I think we might get forestry over here, and we might actually get 2 in as well. If we look at our production, where is our wood? We actually do still have a deficit in our production, so we are importing wood. So definitely we could get 2 or even 3 forestry areas in here, I think. But we are going to need to get some planning permits. So I think we might dedicate this area over here to forestry, and we'll just make it an even 6 just so we carve out that area there. And let's see what we're looking at here. In fact, apparently there's no trees there. Why is that? Are they burnt out potentially? Yeah, okay, so it's a dead tree, but those will hopefully regrow. Right? God, look at this area. It's been completely destroyed by fire. I think we're okay. I think we can still make it work. Might lay out a little bit of a flat pad to lay our main industry buildings down on. I'll just use this major contour here, I think. Or might lay a couple of different pads down rather than having them all on the same level, just for some variety, I guess. And I think that hasn't connected up properly. So let's see. There's this weird bug where the building won't lay down. You need to make sure that you can see the building in that view there. Perfect. So we want to... I don't know if we want to convert this yet. We could maybe go over here. I just don't know if it makes sense because there's not going to be anything else here. It's just going to be a few industries. So we might leave it as is and connect up to our spooey. Just sort of have this dirt road fairly parallel to our highway. We might at this point switch to we'll say 2-lane highway. I mean, realistically, it's just a country road rather than a highway, but this would probably be a fairly high-speed road anyway. And then onto a regular 2-lane road. And I think we can probably do without traffic lights here. There's not going to be a massive amount of traffic coming through. So we'll remove those and just keep the traffic flowing. Still no water? Yes, of course. Yep. Okay. Our country roads or highways do not have water pipes, so we might actually need to just continue this as dirt road all the way. I find it bizarre that our dirt roads have services but not our highways. But there we go. We've got that there. We can set up our zone now. I'm just going to make it as large as we possibly can. It's actually quite a large area. Obviously, we probably aren't using anywhere near as much as this in our old forestry area, right? Actually, no, it is still pretty large. It's just a lot of the area doesn't have trees on it. So that was probably a bit of a fail on our part, wasn't it? All right, there we go. So we've got this new forestry area set up. We're going to quickly smooth things out. And hopefully this should be fairly successful. I do have concerns that our capacity isn't going to be very high due to the fact that we've got a lot of burnt out trees here. So I think we'll be keeping a very close eye on the production we've got here. But hopefully I think it should be okay. Do have some issues here at Thornton Street where we've got quite a large number of industrial vehicles wanting to come into our industrial area, and we've got traffic backing up because of that. And I think we can probably add some asymmetric roads to make that a little bit nicer and easier. And I wonder if we need traffic lights here. We may not, to be honest. Just because this is going to be fairly sparsely used, I would say. Let's remove the traffic lights and we'll see how we go. We'll pull those out and we will, I guess, come back and wait. And we'll leave that flowing for a little while and we'll just see how the traffic flow ends up. Because, yeah, it's a little bit apocalyptic right now, isn't it? Okay, and we're starting to get a little bit of production from this industry area here. Doesn't really tell us how much we're producing, but I suppose if we hit on over to our production tab, we can see that we've actually now got a significant surplus. So that should be good. I might get a second forestry area in here, maybe a little bit further up our hill, And then once we've got that in, we should be able to remove this this old one here. Once again, let's get a major contour line here and just set up a bit of a pad there. We will get our forestry industry main building set up here, making sure that it sets up properly. I'll lay down our dirt road just to make sure that we've got a proper correct connection, and then we will fill out the zoning area. Alrighty, so we've got our 2 timber industries down now, so hopefully our production will start to increase even more. Probably not going to see it quite yet because we probably don't have any employees. No, but I think if we are to delete this area here, hopefully we should see our surplus fix itself up pretty quickly. Well, we'll see. We can always get another forestry area in sort of around the back here. I'm okay with that. This would be sort of a bit of a forestry zone where you're allowed to forest. If that makes sense. I don't know. And how is our landfill going? It's under half full now, which is good. And we might continue dezoning our industrial as well. So this does leave a little bit of a deficit in terms of our industrial demand, and we are going to need to account for that, but I think at the moment, we're looking okay. We can always import at the moment if we need to get some additional industrial goods in. And we do have this land over here that is sort of, you know, it's bordering noxious uses. We've got landfills and stuff in here, so we can always take this area here and use it for some more industrial as well. Yeah, as we overlook our new industrial zones, as well as we can see obviously the land slowly starting to recover at our old industrial area, that's about all we've got time for in this episode. I've been thinking a lot about, you know, trying to make especially road layouts a little bit nicer, a little bit more realistic, and I hope this has been a little bit better in that regard. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you get a ding to your device the next time I post a video. You can find links to my social media in the description, so please jump on there, like, follow, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. Big shout out to my Founders Club patron, Caleb. Caleb, thanks so much for helping to make this content possible. If you want to help out at home, you can do so by popping on over to patreon.com/BobDendry, by joining as a member of YouTube, or just leave a super thanks on this video if you want to give a one-off thanks for the content. But until next time, I'm Bob Dendry, this is Cities Skylines 2. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.